When last we left off, Natalin and Lumi, along with Audrani, the elven noblewoman, who you all have been expecting in Sandpoint. These three on horseback and Lumi on the back of Pickles the donkey are heading toward Sandpoint after a very eventful 24 hours that began with a drunken Lumi stealing a donkey and running off into the night, supposedly for Magnamar, but going entirely in the wrong direction. Father Xantus sent Natalin off to find Lumi and try to bring her back, telling the rest of the gang that Natalin and Lumi were on a special mission and would be returning in a day or two. While almost immediately after Natalin caught up to Lumi, a merry band of travelers showed themselves. The friendly individuals inviting them to breakfast and ultimately to travel with them en route to Magnamar. While on the road, they discovered, because the secret prisoners had broken loose, Audrani and her bodyguard / consort Brannick sort of exposed these ne'er-do-wells for who they really are, and a pretty intense fight broke out that left one of the bandits, sort of the self-proclaimed leader and party-proclaimed a-hole, Crispin, left him quite dead. Crispin became quite crispy, as I recall, due to some intense lightning strikes on Natalin's part.
Then I beat him to death.
Yes, several of the bandits took off on their own various paths, including the always silent and mysterious Misty Steps, and the lovely and adorable Lala Wormwood, who wreaked a little bit of havoc, or attempted to, before taking the wagon and getting out of there. In the kerfuffle, that's when Audrani jumped on a horse and grabbed Natalin, and Lumi grabbed Pickles, and they began heading back to Sandpoint. We're going to pick up briefly with Natalin, Audrani, and Lumi, as you still have a few hours to go. But I imagine in the wake of this business on the road, you've been riding a little harder than usual, and poor Pickles is not meant for that kind of intense riding, and you get to a point where Pickles won't even respond anymore. Pickles just sort of wanders off to the side of the road and begins munching at some of the tall grass, and discovers within moments that there's a nearby slow-moving stream wandering over to get some water. At which point Audrani kind of leans back over her shoulder to you, Natalin, and says, "Well, I suppose this is as good a place as any to take a brief respite. We shouldn't tarry for too long, but it would be, well, good for the animals, good for us, if we take maybe an hour and rest up."
Agreed. The animals definitely need the respite, especially Pickles, who's been traveling for hours.
Pickles is just over there drinking out of the stream going, girl, bye. I am done. We're done for the day.
I mean,
I don't think Pickles is going to be able to walk too much with us.
as Pickles gets near the water's edge, as a sign of how tired he is. Did we ever determine that?
I think he was his original designation, but
regardless, Pickles literally lays down in the grass next to the stream and lowers his head down to the water. He's so weary that he doesn't even want to stand next to the water drinking. So for the moment, the three of you and your animals are taking a brief rest alongside this creek. You're in a little bit of an area that's kind of low down, so you're pretty much out of sight of the road without even really trying to. Somebody would have to deliberately be looking for you if they wanted to find this little dell, I guess would be the appropriate term. Odrani leads the horse over to the water as well, and you can see Natalin in the road dust on her face. You can see the streaks where she had been crying. She doesn't.
I'm sorry, which of us have been crying? Because I think we all have.
Oh, Odrani seems to have been crying while she was driving the horse.
Lumi notices. Are you doing okay?
Did they mistreat you?
No. There's nothing like that. They were... Well, we were careless and they were opportunistic. And to be honest, I didn't get the sense that they were a very cohesive gang. But
no, I didn't get the sense of that either.
But they got the best of us. And that man that they killed.
He was your brother.
He was not my brother. He was my bodyguard and my consort.
Oh. Gosh, I'm sorry.
I will have time.
We can stop and we can look over the sea. We just have to walk that way a bit. I think there's like a cliff or something. A lovely view, and we could stop for a bit if you wish to pay your respects.
I appreciate that. But I will
Sandpoint's not going anywhere.
I will hold on to my grief until we reach Sandpoint, and I can pray before the altars of Desna, Serenway, and offer a proper ceremony. You need to rest, both of you. I don't know.
I'm doing fine. I can keep going.
Yeah, and I think you look to turn over to see Natalin, and she's like already has her eyes closed.
And
Just
I think that Adrani, she kind of smiles at you, Lumi, and she says, well, I will wait for the proper ceremonies at the cathedral. I will offer a song in memory. And she begins to sing in Elvish in very low tones. If you think of Arwen's voice in Lord of the Rings, where she seems to have that sort of very low edge to her voice, she sings in these very low tones, and her voice seems to blend with the sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the sound of the water babbling across through the stream, and the lyrics. If you speak Elven, you might understand some of the lyrics, but they seem to ebb and flow in a slow rhythmic pattern that, unless you actively are resisting it, I feel it's kind of like she's intending. She's not using any magic. She's not casting a spell. But it's a lullaby and a lament at the same time, making it easier for you to drift off to sleep for a bit, to get to the rest that you need. And I don't remember, outside of active healing, there isn't like a short rest rules in this, is there?
I don't think so.
Medicine is the only additional thing that you could do.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing a chance for you to replenish something. But you will get some rest. And what I would like to do is, during this rest, at first, it's that easy drifting into slumber when you're exhausted. But there comes a point for each of you where you get that sensation, like when you're falling asleep, that usually would jerk you awake, but instead you feel yourself pulled even deeper, and you find yourselves together in a strange dream world where, surprisingly, you see Velynia, Moa'Kee, you see Millie, and you see a strange tall man in cloaked robes and hats that you don't recognize. And you also see a painted dragon pulling itself away from a mural on a wall.
Whoa.
In sort of an overview from your perspective, each of you take a moment and describe what's going through your head as you're suddenly pulled into this dream, this painted world, and you experience the events that you experienced in the third part of the painted door.
For Lumi, she has a small bit of lucidity. Well, she's aware that she's dreaming, just ever so slightly, when Sandpoint seems to be falling into ruin. There's flames everywhere, and in this small bit of lucidity, as she's hopping from like lava flow to lava flow, she's worried that, is this going to be another nightmare like the one that she had before, where she saw all of her companions burned alive? She thinks on this and panics for a moment, feeling the red hot dragon chasing behind them all. And I think this is where Lumi failed that check and falls, is from that fear that this is yet another nightmare.
think for Natalin, when it first starts, there's like a sense, a feeling of like comfort or whatever, that this is like one of those stories that her mentor Mako had given her in one of those books. She's like, this has come to life, it's how minds work. And so she was just kind of enjoying the story and where it was going to go and the thought of being a hero, until it really became apparent that this was not a dream so much as a nightmare, when they were now running from the dragon. And it was all very, very real. At least it felt like it.
What, as over the next little while you journey with your companions in your escape from the Red Dragon, and then to the blue flame enshrouded Sandpoint Cathedral, and when you arrive you find this mysterious figure, Relmar, being absorbed into a painting by a figure called the Painter of Ruin. And you all work together and you successfully defeat the Painter of Ruin. And everyone steps through the door in the painting into the real world. But the two of you, how is it that you transition from this dream back into the waking world?
I think for Natalin, it's like an abrupt transition, because Natalin was close to death in the dream and fearing for her life. And so when the Painter of Ruin, or whatever it's called, when he died and everything just kind of like stopped, and they walked through the doorway and we just woke up. And I think Natalin just comes, like, sits bolt upright, just gasping air and trembling, because it felt so real. She saw them, they at least lived, but the horror that we envisioned in that last room of people getting sucked into the paintings and the death was just it's a lot to recover from. So I think at this moment she's just sitting there holding herself, panting and probably sweating a little bit, and just kind of,
as you do that, Audrani, who was sleeping in a sort of meditative state, she was sitting cross-legged in the grass. She opens her eyes as you bolt awake, and she looks at you, and she just, with her voice, reaches out to you. It's okay. You are safe. We were dreaming.
it felt so real. And then at this point, I think she'd be looking around for Lumi, because Lumi was there too. And where's Lumi right now?
Lumi was kind of curled up, kind of her tail twisted around herself, curled up in a little ball sleeping. And over this course of this nap, she's kind of like rolled over in the grass, and she's like laying out all splayed, and and near the end of the dream, this is when Lumi got grabbed by the paint monster and like plastered into the wall and being sucked in, and her face was being covered, and she's trying her best to like move out, and she escaped the grasp of this thing just as the dream ended. And she wakes up to Pickles like licking Lumi's face, mimicking the swaths of paint grabbing at her, and she wakes up in the middle of like pushing away from Pickles absentmindedly licking her face. And she wakes up all groggily, going, "Oh," like when you take a nap that you definitely shouldn't have taken, and it's in the sun, and you're really dehydrated, and you feel awful, and your head's pounding. That's exactly what it's like for Lumi. And she's just like, she gets up, she's sore, she tries to like stretch. Oh, I think I slept too long. What a weird dream. And she gives Pickles a little scratch behind the ears. And she fumbles for her water skin to gluk, 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 to wet her parched mouth.
Adrani kind of turns and watches as Lumi wakes up and mutters something about a weird dream. And you see Adrani kind of looking back and forth between the two of you. Like that thing where she's like not moving her head, she's just moving her eyes, like. But she doesn't say anything.
And I think Natalin, seeing that Lumi is there and fine and awake and no paint on her, kind of reinforces the fact that it was just a dream, as bad as it was, as horrible.
Make a perception check.
Sure, maybe there is paint on her.
In Lumi's mind, that's just a really weird dream. Like, that would never happen in real life. She's already seen her friends come to horrible misfortune in her nightmares before. This is just one of many.
Dirty 20.
You do see a little splatter of purplish paint. You almost don't notice it on Lumi's pearlescent scales, and then you realize this isn't normal coloration. As she turns and the late afternoon sun sort of glimmers off of her pearlescent scales, you see this spot that's not shimmering, and you realize that on the side of her face is a splatter of this sort of purplish, almost black paint.
I think Natalin was just starting to feel comforted by the fact that everything was normal. It was just a dream. And then we see the paint.
The paint
on Lumi.
can't hurt you.
And I think if Adrani was looking back and forth, Adrani would see Natalin like stiffen and probably go white a little bit as the realization that maybe it wasn't all a dream, or at least some part of it was real. But I don't think Natalin would actually go over or say anything to Lumi at this moment. She's going to keep that internally.
Yeah, Lumi will just keep the paint on her face. She'll not notice at all, as she like ruffles Pickles and tries to grab him and guide him over to the rest of you. Like, we should probably be hitting the road.
After this what amounts to basically about an hour of rest, Pickles is much more susceptible to being led. Were either of you wounded in the battle with the bandits?
Nope.
I was a little bit, but I have that ability to heal myself, like
Okay.
once I'm 10 minutes, so I would have immediately out of the. But I was wounded. He hit me with his that dagger, I believe it was.
A razor blade?
The razor blade, yeah.
Yeah.
The
one
dagger of persistent necrotic wounds. You wake up 1 hour later to find your arm has fallen off.
Oh God, no.
I was trying to find the specific spell and I can't find it.
Hey, while Jake looks for a specific sale, check us out on redbubble.com. At redbubble.com, we got all kinds of great goods like t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, mugs, stickers, notebooks, postcards, phone cases, posters, and even pillows, all with amazing MTD logos on it for both your fantasy games, our Kids on Bikes game, and so many others. Check us out today at redbubble.com. Click the link in the description for this video.
Cari, does that include body pillows?
No, that's a great question. Don't think so. Thinking about like a couch pillow, that kind.
Thanks, Cari.
Yeah, you're welcome. All kinds of great stuff at redbubble.com.
Thank you. So for the duration of your travel, I think that's the one I was looking for. Odrani is essentially a traveling priest, and has certain abilities that allow her to move with surety of the path, and she's going to use these abilities to ensure that you make it the rest of the way. These aren't like long-term effects, but she can essentially protect you, is sort of what I'm getting at here. For the next couple hours, it's about 3 or 4 hours, you're going to arrive in Sandpoint in sort of that roughly 6 o'clock in the evening time frame. The sun's still up for another hour or two, but it's definitely heading towards dusk. And you will be arriving via the northern entrance, since you went north instead of south. And I think in the evening light, you see Lumi. What you didn't see when you were heading out, that you were going, the sea was on the wrong side. That should have been your clue. Odrani, as you're heading in, Odrani says, I don't know what your plans are, but I need to go to the cathedral immediately and see Father Xantus.
Well, luck would have it that that's where I'm headed to.
It's incredible.
Lumi, however, then realizes, she puts the two dots together. She then looks to you, Natalin, and she goes, well, did you by chance talk to the others before you came after me?
I didn't, Lumi. I was...
Oh, that's a relief. Okay.
Oh!
All right, let's go to the
thank
cathedral.
Oh, thank Desna.
So,
anyway,
I think because you come into, let's double check here. As you're entering into Sandpoint through the north gate, you basically walk right alongside some of the buildings at the cathedral and to the cathedral itself. I mean, that's pretty much the first main building you arrive at. And as you are, the three of you are on the horse or the donkey as you head up towards the cathedral. I think that's probably about the time that Millie, Velynia, and Moa'Kee, looking a little paint splattered, are probably returning to the cathedral to let Father Xantus know that the Relmar situation has been dealt with. So there's this moment where, as you're heading up, the three of you see the three of you.
well, hello there. I propose we don't talk about any of this until we have drinks in front of us. Is that fair?
Yeah. Sure.
Natalin
Good.
just kind of looks over towards Lumi to see how
Lumi is frozen.
Oh, Lumi!
Like, her breath's caught in her throat.
Your father said that you weren't going to be back for a few days. I guess your errand didn't take as long as he thought it would.
Errand. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It turned out just fine. We met her on the way. We didn't have to go the entire distance.
Oh, was she your errand? Where are my manners? Hello, it's pleasant to meet you. My name is Millie.
It is wonderful to meet you, Millie. I am Odrani. I'm an old friend of Father Xanthus's.
You said this woman is an elf, right?
Yeah, she has the look of a, at this point, travel-weary, elven noblewoman. Yeah.
Velynia would give her a greeting, kind of like a respectful elven greeting, like that one below would give a superior or a higher up kind of, just to kind of smooth this greeting here.
She would return the appropriate elven response, but her response to you has a little more familiarity than a formal response. It still has that level of speaking to somebody of a lower station, but it's tinged with familiarity.
Nice. Okay. Velynia's kind of taken aback. She didn't expect that.
Does Moa introduce himself?
Moa is just standing there, kind of doesn't say much. He's just kind of, yeah, after everything that happened, he's just kind of like,
There's, I think, this moment where, again, Audrani's kind of looking between the two groups of people and being sort of the, I guess in this case, the sixth wheel. She just kind of looks around and says, well, we've had quite a time on the road, and I would very much like to see Father Xanthus and get cleaned up and get some proper rest. If you will excuse me. And
Well, it turns out we're all walking the same direction. We're going to see Father Xanthus as well.
Yes, we have to fill him in on everything that happened in the painting. Well, I suppose you are. You know what happened in the painting, and Velynia would specifically gesture at Lumi's face where there is paint on there.
Did you have that dream too?
You have a little something on your cheek, dear. Oh, it was no dream.
She like rubs it, like, oh, I must have slept in some berries or something.
She
gives it a sniff. Like, it doesn't smell like rotten berry or whatever. What? By Sarenrae? What's this?
Well, that's what we call in the business paint.
No. She is caught off guard by your snide comment.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I have to agree with our new friend. I'm in desperate need of a bath, a drink, and just some peace and quiet.
Well, we've got to get you to the cathedral, Lumi says to Adrani.
Well,
I'm sure Father has lots he wants to say to you. I didn't mean that in a bad way.
Perhaps, yes, we can all go see Father Xanthus, and then perhaps you could see that the horse is stabled properly, and that you return...
Pickles!
Return Pickles where he belongs?
How about this? I'll take Pickles. You all can go report to Father Xanthus. I'm not a big church person anyway. I'll take Pickles back and explain the whole thing away. You know how quick I am with an explanation. And then I'll meet you all at the bar.
And what explanation is that, might I ask?
I'll just say that I found him wandered off. Of course. I found him out in the countryside. Perhaps I'll even get a reward.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Anyways, he's a bit tired. He might be a bit stubborn. Thank you. Lumi says as she hands you what makes for a donkey's reins.
And Velynia would like take the reins and kind of give Pickles a scritch under the chin, and just be like, "Anytime," and she would wink at you.
Lumi doesn't see the wink. She's not even looking at you. She's looking down on the ground.
And Velynia would go on her merry way back towards the stables.
I think Moa would join you.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, let's get to the cathedral.
I think
Lynn
as Lumi and the others head up to the stable, or sorry, to the cathedral, we'll briefly follow Moa and Velynia as you return to the place where you had seen, I forget who saw it exactly, but the morning after Lumi's disappearance, you had seen I am blinking on the sheriff's name.
It was Moa. Saw Sheriff Hemlock talking to the
Hemlock.
guy, complaining his donkey was missing.
I think.
You are so impressive.
Who is Andy Harwell? Is that the cop in Paradise?
He's from the other game, Jake.
He's from the other game.
I know. I got
Harwell's from
confused.
Kids on Bikes.
I got confused. I was like, and they both start with a H, so that's what's throwing me. So it's the place where you saw the farmer had noticed or was talking to Sheriff Hemlock about the missing mule. It's a small ranch located right inside town. Not so much a ranch as it's more like a corral. But it is called the Stubborn Grace Ranch.
Stubborn Grace. Oh,
and it's just
God.
it's just a little patch of land sort of in between some of the buildings there's a stable and a little corral. Oftentimes the owner rents out these donkeys for labor around town, for children's birthday parties, those kind of things. The farmer is Grady Stubb Murnell. Everybody just calls him Stubb.
Stub.
Yeah, let me drop that in the chat for you.
Amazing. Gotta love it.
He is a grizzled, sun-leathered old-timer. Comes across as stubborn, like his donkeys. But he genuinely, some people that know him well know that he has a heart of gold.
Awesome. So I think, would Moa relay that is where the donkey was missing from, and this is who is missing it?
Yes. Oh, definitely. It would be like, Mo would be kind of like going, this donkey was missing. And they show up with the donkey. Do we know why they had the donkey? Or are we going to ask why they had the donkey?
Are you talking to me as Jay right now, or as Moa?
Actually, let me back up. Yeah, as Moa. He'd be like going, so.
And also, yeah.
He'd be like, so do we know why they had the donkey?
We don't need to know why they had the donkey.
That's the clarification question. We're not diving in.
No, I think probably one of them stole it. I don't know why they stole it, but they're probably just.
That's a new one.
I mean, if it was Lumi, she probably was gonna fucking bring it back.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they just borrowed it.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what they would say. Anyway, I'm going to say I found it.
I'm not going to say anything. So you do whatever you. I'm pointing you in the right direction. I just want a beer, a drink, some mead, and get this paint off.
Yes, I'm right behind you. And I imagine that's right kind of when we're pulling up, and I'd be like, "Oi, Stub, are you missing an ass?"
I would like you to roll me a D100.
Oh God.
I'm going to say that there is a 10% chance that Sheriff Hemlock is present.
I rolled a 2.
So if I roll a 92 to a 12. No, that is bad math. A 97 97 to a 7.
I refuse to do math, and I'm off the clock, so.
A 97 to a 7. If I roll that, then Sheriff Hemlock is present. Any other number, and it's just Stubbs. That's a 5. So I think because you've already called out, hey Stub, you see old Stub come out from where I imagine you kind of glimpsed him in the corral, probably leading one of the donkeys in. And you see him suddenly as he steps back and he closes the gate and looks back over at you, and he kind of looks at you, and then he looks past you and he goes, "Well, there you are, Pickles." And
Velynia would like squint her eyes and then look at the little brass nameplate and like, "Oh yes, we found Pickles."
And that's when Sheriff Hemlock steps out from where they were just inside the
This motherfucker.
Stable.
Right. This is.
There we go. 1 second.
Hemlock is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. He steps out. I'm confused. Sorry, I was confusing.
The mayor's a lady.
I was confusing the two for a moment. He steps out and kind of looks the scene over, and he goes, found the donkey, did ya?
Yes, of course. Seems like Pickles' eyes were slightly bigger than his stomach, and he found himself out in the farmlands, believe it or not. Made it quite a distance for a donkey.
I would like you to attempt a charm or a deception check. Or actually, no. Yeah. Sorry. I want you to do charm or deception.
Charm or deception, huh? Well, charm isn't a thing in this game. So I guess
that would
honestly,
be...
if you were more of like a kid on a bike, you could use charm.
Yeah, mayhap. I could also do a brains check or of some sort. Yes, indeed. I'll do a deception.
Why? I don't think I've ever mixed up the two games
never
as much as
hit the middle of the Venn diagram quite this bad. So
it took me, even with you going charm's not a thing. I'm like, are you sure? Sorry, it would be a deception, or I'm not sure what I was going for. Something with
diplomacy.
Yeah, diplomacy probably.
Diplomacy. Yeah.
I would have chosen deception anyway because I'm me. And I got a 26. And I'm like looking him so hard right straight in the eye.
And
you know that there's always like a little like resentment bubbling under the surface whenever she talks to Sheriff Hemlock.
This I would say that Sheriff Hemlock is probably one of the people that most looks like he would be equally at home in a fantasy setting as he would be in a Western setting.
So fucking awesome. Cari loves this guy.
As he looks at you, and he kind of looks between you and Moa, and looks you up and down, and then he kind of reaches up and pushes the brim of his hat, kind of pushing it so it sits back just a little bit. He goes, well, I guess it's fortunate for Stubbs here that you found his missing donkey, and maybe I can get about doing some real police work in town here, huh?
Yep. Thanks, Sheriff.
Perhaps.
And Stubbs doesn't really say anything to Sheriff Hemlock. He just comes over and says, well, you look like you've had a rough road, and, well, it's good to see you safe. And you realize he's not talking to you at all. He's talking to Pickles. And
Stubbs, what do you say to getting the first round tonight, and then we can get out of your hair? And Velynia like holds her hand out. It's like a bag kid waiting for a tip. It's like...
roll me. This
is probably a diplomacy.
I was gonna say this one would be I almost said charm again. That's why I hesitated. Diplomacy.
I'll just know to translate that in my brain.
Yeah. Watch on Thursday when I start asking you for sense motive checks and.
Yeah. Right. My diplomacy check is a 24.
Okay. Roll me a D10 and a D6.
This is very creative, whatever's happening here. Do you need them combined or separate? Combined, it's a 6.
Okay. When you say that and you're standing there holding out his hand, he glances at your hand held out and kind of brushes it aside with his shoulder as he does a full walk around of Pickles. And you see him reach down and pick up the leg to look at the hooves, and kind of circles back around, checks the ears, checks Pickles off over thoroughly. All right. First couple rounds are on me. And he reaches into a pocket and he pulls out some coins, and he will give you a total of 12 gold pieces.
Thank you, Stubbs. You're a true gentleman.
He gives you a side eye like he doesn't. Stubbs is the kind of person who does not believe compliments, whether they're actual compliments, backhanded compliments, or sarcastic. And he looks over at Sheriff Hemlock and just says, well, Pickles is back where he belongs. I guess you're done here. And Hemlock just kind of shakes his head and looks at the two of you and says, if you're going to be in the Rusty Dragon later, I might try to get in on one of those rounds.
Oh, might you? And at this point, Velynia would kind of paw at the coins in her hand, and then as Moa and she are kind of walking away, she turns around and ping, flicks one into the air at him, and she would just wink and say, anywhere but the Rusty Dragon is probably for the best tonight, Sheriff. Enjoy your drink. And then she would turn and keep walking with Moa.
You don't like him, do you?
No, I fucking don't, Moa.
What did he ever do to you?
It's just who he is and what he is. It's hard to understand.
Law enforcement in charge of...
It's not even that. I just know people. And I know him, and believe me, you would do well to keep your distance as well.
I've had some runs in with him before too, so we've got a mutual understanding at times. I don't burn down houses. He doesn't put me in jail. That's or bars, I should say.
I suppose one might call that a compromise.
Mhm.
Anyway, speaking of burning everything down, what was with you and that dragon? You got real quiet and hush-hush and strange back there.
And at that moment, Moa's demeanor changes and just goes quiet and kind of stops the pace, slows the pace down a little bit, and just says, "We don't have a drink in front of us yet."
Very well, I just thought if you might like to keep the matter a little bit more private.
I do.
Then do you care to share with me, or would you rather share with everyone?
Just you for now, I think would be fine, but I don't have a drink in front of my hand, so we'll figure it out.
I'm sure there will be time if we keep walking. And
Yes.
Velynia kind of like hurries him as we've stopped, kind of.
Yes, we shall. And he keeps up pace.
And we walk. Going to the Rusty Dragon. It's happy hour.
You're going to the bar, not the cathedral?
Goddamn right, we're not going to the bar. Come on, Jacob.
What kind of appies are on special during happy hour?
Yeah, we are gonna have mozzarella sticks.
Cheese
jalapeno
blossom.
Wait,
poppers.
I was gonna say it's isn't it
Cheese
like
blossoms.
the cheese blossoms that
Yes. We're gonna house a freaking order of cheese blossoms before anybody else even fucking gets there.
Oh, and like a shrimp boil too.
Oh my god, yes, and like a bloomin' onion.
it's taking me a minute to remember some of the things from Sandpoint, because you know how you start playing the campaign and then you decide, hey, we're gonna do these DLC packs first.
Yep.
Mhm.
So you guys have finished the free DLC. I'm trying to remember the main campaign stuff. So as you guys are heading down the street, we will swing back to Sandpoint Cathedral with Millie, Natalin, Lumi, and Odrani. And as you are approaching the building, Father Xantus... Uh-oh.
Oh my god, who'd we lose?
We lost Lumi.
Oh shit. No. Oh god. Whew.
Oh, Lumi's back.
Trying to run away again, eh?
Wow.
No, I lost my connection to the internet gods. A brief blip in my prayers is all.
Phew.
Father Xantus steps outside, and he steps outside like, not that he was specifically like he had seen you approaching, but steps outside just kind of like, I'm just going to open the door, get a breath of fresh air, look out on the town over sunset, and then he spots you, and immediately you see his hands kind of go up for a moment, and he doesn't so much run as he moves at a quickened pace as he comes forward, and I think he just comes running forward and says, "Oh, Lumi, my child," and it just picks you up in his arms, scooping you up off the ground and holding you close.
Lumi returns the little bit of the jog to run up, and she is very, very happy to be reunited with her dad after the many emotional mistakes that she's made up to now. She's just relieved that he's not yelling, he's not angry, he's not disappointed, but he's not yet, you know.
I'm glad you mentioned disappointed, because that was going to be my next thing. He's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Millie just kind of looks at Natalin like, "Oh, boy, He sure is happy to see ya. It's only been a day.
And then Natalin just kind of looks at you, and then I mean, he was worried that we might we might miss Adrani and not meet her on the trail. And so I'm sure he's just happy that we found her, and much quicker than he anticipated. I'm sure. Yeah,
It was much faster. He did say it would be a few days, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Lumi does a little side glance, sees that Millie and Natalin are kind of talking, not paying too much attention. So she'll really quickly and quietly whisper to Father Xantus as they're embracing, "Father, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I ran off." I'm so happy to be home again.
I am happy that you are home, and I'm just happy that you're here.
I'm happy I'm here too.
And he will hold on to you for another moment before sort of setting you down, and I think in a much more intimate way. It's similar to Stubbs checking over Pickles. Father Xantus is looking you over, and you see him give a little bit of a curious look as he reaches up and with a thumb just sort of I think he does the dad thing, and he just goes licks his thumb, and he goes like this, and you see this sort of purplish black paint. He doesn't really question. It's just whatever you got into.
Well, I mean, Millie's standing kind of 10 feet away next to Natalin, literally still dripping paint.
Yeah, I think.
So,
I would also like for Natalin to make a deception check.
Yes, I was waiting for this.
And it's going to be versus
Millie's perception
DC, but also Adrani's perception DC.
Can I just voluntarily choose to fail that roll because I am untrained in deception? Natalin's not very comfortable in lying at all, and I tried to role play that she was making up something on the spot.
Like
you
went out on the road, and
when you're untrained, I believe you get a +0 in your check anyway.
I have a +0.
So
diplomacy.
Yeah.
If you choose to fail that, I will choose to play it as Millie knows that you're bullshitting her, but she's playing it off because, I mean, she's heard a lot of bullshit from her own kids over the years. So
Adrani.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Adrani, on the other hand, isn't so doesn't really know you well enough. But just sort of leans over when you say that, Natalin, and she says, "My dear, I do find it best to be honest with those that you are close with. The truth is far simpler." And she kind of, as she says that, she takes your hand and just sort of pats the back of it for a moment, and she steps forward towards Father Xantus, and she raises her voice a little bit and just says, well, I want it to be noted, Abstelar, that your daughter and Natalin here were incredibly helpful in escorting me to safety. I shall have to fill you in on the details once I've had an opportunity for a warm bath and a warm brandy.
Oh my God.
And Father Xantus kind of stands up and he goes, "Oh, Well, yes, I will join you, of course, for the brandy. I mean, for have private private chambers for you, of course.
Oh, Zaddy.
Where do you think that Lumi got her flirting techniques from?
Yes, dude. Yes. That is adorable. Oh my god. I love him.
And she just kind of smiles, and you might notice a small tinge of sadness in that smile, as she says,
Because Brannick
Yes.
would be joining her. Okay.
"For the brandy, we have much to talk about before the business for why I have come in the first place." And Xantus will turn to you, Lumi, and say, well, he says it quietly to you. "I am most pleased that you are home and safe, and I do hope that you will come and speak to me first rather than making any more brash decisions."
I will, Father. I will.
Well,
I think I should go see my friends now.
I think that would be good. Adrani and
I
I
miss
have
them.
much to talk about.
Millie kind of clears her throat loudly.
Oh, I am so sorry, Millie. It's, oh dear, you.
It's no bother, Father Xantus. I just, I'd hate to stand here and continue to drip paint all over the marble floor here. So I just wanted to give you a very quick rundown of what happened today. Talia came to us all in a tizzy. She apparently had lost her brother. When we went to investigate, we found that her brother had got sucked into an evil portal magic portrait. And so we went in there and saved him from that, and everything's okay now.
Roma is fine.
Oh yes, Relmar seems no worse for wear. He's probably back home cleaning up his studio.
Well, it sounds like everyone had an eventful day. I thank you. And I'm sure the town, most obviously Relmar's neighbors, are rather pleased to have this situation in hand.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, if you don't mind, Father, I'm going to go clean myself up a little bit. And I might have myself a brandy as well.
That's amazing.
Well, again, thank you, and I shall call on Roma and Talia in the coming days. Thank you to you and your friends. Are you injured at all?
Yes, kinda. See how bad it is. I'm down 10.
10 of.
10 of spades.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
I
obviously.
normally was a 36, I'd be like a 26.
Jesus, that's pretty bad, actually. Well, nothing a good night's sleep and a brandy won't cure. A hot bath.
Ocean's balm. I can.
A nice lavender spritz or something.
Father Xantus, I think he does kind of come up to you and just look you over, like he's trying to see if there's looking at all of this paint mess. He's trying to see if you have any visible wounds, and he is going to he is going to. Does he have to touch
Give
you?
the heelsies. Cool.
He
cool,
doesn't
cool.
have to touch you. He's going to upcast it, and anybody within. Wait, is it just one person? To a living. Whatever. He's going to heal you 8 points.
Nice.
Millie's gonna.
Oh, was that a gash there underneath that paint? Oh, why, thank you so much, Father.
Well, as I said, you and your friends are always welcome to my healing abilities whenever you get yourself into, well, the kind of trouble you find yourselves in. I think it's at that point, from near one of the doorways, Audrani's standing there sort of just looking back and just says,
If I don't have that brandy.
And
in
Father
exactly
Xanthus says,
25 seconds.
yes, I am so sorry, Millie. I have to attend to our special guest.
I'm already out the door. Okay, bye.
Kaeryn.
Ah.
And I think as everybody sort of disperses to different locations, this is a good place to take a break.
Perfect.
We're going to go ahead
Agreed.
and take our usual roughly 10-minute break, and we will see you on the other side.
Cushy boulder tushy.
And we're back. And we are once again in the Rusty Dragon, where food and drinks are being served, watched over by the diminutive but authoritative Bethana Gorwyn, who is making sure that as long as you are throwing down coin, she is serving up the food and beverages. And you all are seated together at a table as a round of drinks. I almost imagine this like coming back from a commercial break, as we see sort of the camera almost like it's a POV shot from the serving tray as it moves through the Rusty Dragon and then is
Cool.
set down
Yes.
on the table, where we see all of you reaching for your drinks, and that's where we'll pick up, as you all now have a fresh round of drinks.
I would like
And
to add
the scene is
to
yours.
that
Yeah.
I'd like to add to that scene that when we see the tray go down onto the table, we then see that it was Natalin who brought it over. And so as the rest of them pick up their drinks, we can see that Natalin kind of looks at Lumi a little bit and then sees the open seat beside Velynia, the open seat beside Moa'Kee across the table, and chooses in that moment to go sit by Moa'Kee.
Oh, smart cookie.
And Moa is actually writing, his little kind of a journal book, or not a journal book, more of a book, formula. He's writing a whole bunch of formulas and some runes and some arcane symbols and drawings of like a wand in there, and lines are kind of coming to it where different arcane symbols are supposed to be going, as he just kind of moves the drink next to him and he's just kind of doing some writings.
I think she doesn't.
Moa'Kee, what are you doing? Put that book away.
I'm just jotting some thoughts down. It's for a new device. I'll be done in a second. Keep drinking.
You can't disturb a man when he is engrossed, Millie. And Velynia is drinking, but sparingly. She's got a drink in front of her that she's been kind of nursing all night.
Wait, you're
And,
telling me that my paint dream was real?
I mean, it
Oh,
certainly
yeah.
felt real.
We saw you and Natalin there plain as day, although you were both painted versions of yourselves.
Yes, like not 3-dimensional. It was like you were
Three what now?
paintings. It is like us, like people. You were like paintings instead. It was very strange.
That is quite strange. Explains how I got that paint on my face, I guess.
I suppose.
I thought it was all a really wacky, weird dream. There's a
Well, maybe-
dragon and lava and rivers and
When Lumi mentions the dragon, Velynia looks over at Moa again, just kind of like just a quick glance, just kind of like checking to see if he reacts to that at all.
Nope. He's just writing in his book.
He's dissociating. Got it.
Is seeing as Natalin is right there beside him as he's writing, does he scrape the paper a little bit harder than he did seconds before?
Ooh.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a slight, like twinge in his hand as he's making that arcane symbol, and then he kind of goes back and erases it because then he's got to make it a sharp because it kind of went off a little bit.
Oh, speaking of real, and I look over at Lumi and I just slap what's left of the gold that we haven't spent on jalapeno poppers and beer onto the table, and I say, guess who got a reward for finding pickles?
she scowls at you. Velynia.
Listen, he has money to give, and we did him a good deed.
Now I feel bad. Why is he paying you for me borrowing his donkey? It should be the other way around.
Well, how about you, would it make you feel any better if you used it to buy yourself a drink? Moa and I have already helped ourselves.
Okay. She grabs one of the coins and she'll like hold it in her two hands and hop down from the table and like go up to the bar and like hop up on her tiptoes and like, hello.
How much can I get for this?
She like
Maddie?
clanks the
How
the
many
coin up on the bar.
alcohols?
Hello, I'd like 2 beer, please.
2 beer.
So, what is
I'd
it?
like an
Millie,
extra
Millie,
strength fire plum wine, please.
Oh God. Oh God.
Millie turns to Vel and says, "Oh, you missed it though after you left.
You don't
Why, that lovely elven woman sure was singing Lumi's praises. Lumi and Natalin, apparently they were quite helpful on the road.
say. What happened? I thought they were just.
I have no idea."
And Natalin is
Interesting.
kind of fidgeting and looking down and not saying anything. And
Natalin, what happened?
Looking at Moa'Kee's writing, basically anything to not look you in the eye.
Natalin. Natalin.
Um,
Look at me.
No. And then she looks at you.
And Velynia kicks the table so the silverware goes. He's like, "What do you mean, no?"
And-
That's when Lumi arrives with her like very strong booze. She's like sipping it.
Oh,
And she
very
pauses, seeing
well.
that you've kicked the table.
Oh
If
dear.
And I think
If you're
worried
going to be
too-
tight, no, go ahead.
I was say a worried look, like when you kicked the table, she looked at you, but then now there's a worried look as Lumi came up to the table, and she kind of looks at Lumi.
Very well. If you're going to be
And-
tight-lipped about it, I'm sure Lumi will fill us all in on your adventures on the road.
Oh yeah, our adventure. Yep. Just classic Lumi and Natalin adventures. Borrowing a donkey and taking a long hike and found some trouble and saved some
Millie
people
was-
and made a friend and got chased. Usual stuff.
I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry, what now?
Millie was just sharing with us that our new elven friend was singing your praises. And it wasn't just about making friends. Did things get dicey?
Yeah.
You don't say. How so? And Velynia like makes herself comfortable and like pulls her drink closer to her and grabs another like jalapeno popper and is just like waiting to hear this story.
Lumi blushes for twofold reason. One is has a little bit of stage fright here of like realizing, oh crap, I got to invent a story off the top of my head here. And Velynia is the primary audience. Oh no, what do I do? So she's like trying her best to concoct some story. Her tail is like anxiously like wrapping around like the table leg, like almost like fidgeting. And she's like swirling down like this plum wine. She's like trying to every now and then bring it up to her lips, and she's like, no, I have to keep talking. And she's like, well, you see, we were on an errand, you see, to head out of town, and well, lo and behold, there was this group of, well, we thought them travelers, and well, it turns out that even though one of them was, well, one of them is my friend now, I hope, turns out that Adrani was in the back of one of the wagons, and apparently she had been kidnapped or something by one of those travelers, and no one knew, and there was this big like argument that happened, and they started turning on each other, and well, in the chaos, Adrani was able to get away, and well, I ran off, me and Natalin ran off with her back here. It was a whole mess.
My goodness, well, that is quite the story. And your father sent you out there to find this Adrani.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the
yeah.
two of you. He sent just the
Absolutely.
two of you out.
He did not expect there to be trouble at all.
I
exactly
would like
what
to make
happened.
a sense motive, please, on both these bitches.
I roll deception. Oh, natural 1. That's a crit fail.
I got a
I've got
28.
for a total of.
Oh my god, I got a nat 1 too.
That is so fucking perfect. And I rolled like a motherfucker. I got a 28.
I got a total of 11 on a crit fail.
I got a
Millie
total
just-
of 1.
These
Millie just kind of looks at you, Vel, over the top of her ale.
the
Moa turns or stops writing and looks.
the two of them are absolutely awful at deviating from the truth in any way.
Natalin's face is probably so red. It is a dead giveaway. This girl has got no poker face whatsoever. She
Lumi
is
also wears her emotions on her sleeves. Lumi's like mixing up the details and like going back and like retconning things that happened. Her story is a fumbling mess as she relays it.
Yeah, and Natalin's nodding and agreeing to all the wrong parts. Right? You go back and change, and she's like, oh shoot. And yeah, she'll interject, and it'll be something that like maybe we'll both talk at the same time, but it'll be two different things that we've said.
Oh.
And
yeah, Velynia like sees all of this, and very much like Millie earlier, just kind of is letting you two dig yourselves in deeper. And then she would kind of at the end of your story, when she's questioning that your father sent you out there, just the two of you, to go on this mission.
Yep, but I'm back now.
just me, actually.
Thank
Did you miss me?
goodness. Wait a minute, why just you?
Oh no, you're right. The two of us. That's what I said. Wasn't Lumi?
That was quite a risk.
Lumi. Just...
Oh my,
A
Millie.
beer
Millie
gets
picks
shoved
up her.
in front of Natalin.
Millie picks up the sidecar of brandy she had gotten with her beer and just like stops sipping it and just like art.
Well, Seems like I'm gonna have to have a discussion with your father about his team selection for certain missions. It sounds like that was quite dangerous to send just the two of you.
I needed to clear my head. That's all. I kind of freaked out. I took a long walk, found some trouble, and Natalin came to find me and bring me back, and we stumbled across all the other parts with Adrani is true. The band of travelers and me making a friend and them being the hostages in the back and all that stuff. That stuff's true, but well, it's more happen
friends
fast.
with one of them?
I hope so.
What do you mean you hope so?
Well, I don't know if this is the case with you, but it is with me, where I am fond of someone and I will spend time with them and I really look up to them, sometimes figuratively, sometimes literally, sometimes both. And well, I assume that we're on good terms, but then it turns out that they don't like me that much. But I hope that that's not the case here.
With one of the kidnappers.
Well, I don't think that she thought that she was kidnapping, but if she ever swings by, I want to get the table all straight on that one.
With us too.
That's what I'm saying. That's honestly, I was so heartbroken when I found out that Adrani was hostages in their wagon. But then, when she turned around and clubbed her own leader back in the back of the head, I was like, whoa, I don't know what's going on anymore.
So a kidnapper and a murderer. Lumi, I simply forbid you to ever see this kidnapper murderer again.
That person doesn't sound like a very good influence.
I don't. No, she's great.
Interesting. Well,
she was really neat. Okay, honestly, I mean, if you had met her, you'd believe me. You'd be on my side too. She's like if there was like a giant oak tree that could punch a wyvern in it.
Well, did you manage to kill any of the others?
Oh,
or
no.
Your new friend?
I would never kill my new friend. No. What do you mean?
Sounds like we might have to.
Well,
no.
It sounds like you encountered some garden variety bandits, Lumi.
I don't think they were bandits.
Did you kill them?
To be fair, no.
I would never.
No, the one that died. Well, he was the one that killed Adrani's bodyguard and consort. And
good heavens!
It's only fitting that he.
That Izzy knocked him out.
Yeah, exactly. A little hard, but yes. And he hurt
this
me
oak tree
too.
This oak tree that could punch out and kill a man.
Yeah, but the rest of them.
Izzy.
Well, don't ever say that to her face, but I like the name on her.
Yes.
Very well.
But all the rest, they just ran away.
And you let them?
Well, there was a lot of them, and I was trying to save Adrani. So, yeah, yes.
There's a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion.
Discretion is the better part of valor.
I think personally that it was kind of a whole big mix-up. But as I was riding away on Pickles, I looked at Izzy. Her name is Gothy, by the way. And I said, if you're ever around, you should swing by Sandpoint and come say hi.
You invited her here?
Oh, good. Good.
What
did
if
you
she
tell her
shows
your
up
address
with the other
too?
bandits, Lumi?
Yeah, I told her my address.
Did you give her your fucking social security number? Lumi, we need to have a talk.
I invited her for drinks.
And Velynia makes a mental note of this bitch's name because this does not sound like a reputable sort, and we might have to throw hands.
Is there a bingo card for if Cari ends up talking to herself, or if any of you end up talking to yourselves? It's different characters.
There might just have to be.
I'm gonna put all of you in the room.
I'm not angry at her. I'm a little worried for you and your choices.
Mm-hmm. What does she know about you? Tamiko, the player, knows everything, but...
Well, some things I hope more than others, she says.
Oh my gods. This has been entirely too stimulating, everyone. I think I will be taking my leave, and I leave the stack of gold, what is left of what Stubbs gave us, and I'd be like, everyone help yourself. Consider it a donation.
Velynia,
Velynia, I'm sorry. You don't have to leave.
Velynia, before you can even stand up, somebody bumps into the back of your chair. And you feel a little bit of liquid spill down the back of your neck. And you hear the voice before you see the person that did it. Well. Look who's holding court like heroes. Karn Scarnetti is standing over you, and he's not like wobbling or unsteady, but he's very red in the face. And you can tell that the drink in his hand is probably not even his second or third drink. He looks around at all of you and says, "So, still playing Priest Hasrabis, are you? Or is he sending you off to dig up more ghosts and call it mercy?"
Oh, for heaven's sake, Karn, go home, you're drunk.
Tell me something.
I think he's still sloshing his drink a little bit, and Velynia just goes like, and reaches over her shoulder and steadies it as he's standing there.
He doesn't seem to acknowledge it. He just goes, "Tell me, when this all goes sideways, and it will, what are you going to do? You gonna stand there with holy words and good intentions while she burns through this town again?" And he looks around. He's talking loud enough to try to draw attention. And he's looking around like, almost like, you know, when the bully is looking for people to kind of support him. And people are kind of like just looking and leaning over and talking to one another. And then he goes,
cast Bind Muzzle on him.
Oh, I was gonna say, Lumi has a moment of bravado and boldness as well.
Amazing.
What is Bind Muzzle?
Basically, it shuts his mouth so he can't talk. He has to make a fortitude saving throw. And basically what it does is, if he depends on if he succeeds or fails, or crit fails, there's different things that can happen.
It's a scale.
The DC, which is going to be it's going to be a DC of 19 fortitude save.
1 second. I wasn't expecting to have to roll a saving throw for him.
There's no fucking stat block for this bitch.
No, there is. I just don't.
It's just somewhere.
Have it quite at the ready. Where did it go?
A shimmering muzzle.
Here we go.
So,
yes, shapeshifted Cambion fortitude save.
So a shimmering muzzle of pure magical force clamps the target's mouth shut.
Amazing.
Why is it? Am I spelling that wrong? Yep. I'm struggling to find his stat block. So, sorry. What was your save DC?
DC is 19.
All right. Let's see here.
This bitch.
All right.
Okay.
Hold on.
That is a critical failure.
Hold on. That is not a critical fail.
Uh-oh.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
30.
I've got some of these. Courtesy of Hawkmere. These tomes. Or nope. These Domain dice.
Oh.
I'm gonna re-roll that.
It's better.
It is better.
Yeah, it's better, but not $5 better.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
So does he have a +5 or more?
One second.
In the interest of fairness, he has to at least have a +5, right?
He's gotta.
Yeah. I mean,
give me a second.
But does he have a penalty because he's so very drunk?
That's
He's
a great question.
drunk.
Yeah,
He's
not
not so
really.
very drunk.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, why is this not opening? I'm having a technical difficulty. One moment. My entire there it goes.
While Jake is having a technical difficulty, check out Carrie's cat. Carrie's cat is in the window next to mine.
Her name is
And
Oprah. Oprah the
and
cat.
she is silently judging you.
All the time.
You
Judging.
can also be silently
Always
judged by
judging.
going to. I'm kidding.
Redbubble.com.
So the problem I'm having is the stat block that he's given, or rather the class that he's given, is not showing up. So I don't know what his... You threw me for a loop because I was
Sorry.
expecting...
He would have at minimum his level as a bonus of fortitude save.
Jake never expected us to stand up to Karn Skarnet.
I expected him to give you a drunken rant and stumble away.
Moa's not taking that tonight. Moa's in a mood.
He's in a mood.
Like the Telltale game, I see Karn did not like that.
Karn did
Yeah,
not
pretty
like
much.
that.
This work. Okay, that is weird.
Um,
I'm gonna say, he's gonna fail. I don't think it's a critical fail, but well, let me ask this: what was your DC again?
It was 19.
Oh yeah, it'll be a critical fail then.
Okay, so basically, for a regular failure, is that for one round he can't necessarily cast spells with verbal components. With a critical failure, for 1 minute he can't talk.
You said that's called Bind Muzzle?
Binding Muzzle, Binding. It is a 2nd level spell.
You've used this before.
Yes, I have on the
goat
demon.
man. Mm-hmm.
So okay, so let's all of the behind the scenes, pay no attention to the DM behind the curtain stuff. He's rambling on to you. The last thing he gets out is, what are you going to do when it all goes sideways? Stand there with holy words and good intentions while she burns the town down again. He looks around. People are kind of looking into their mugs, whispering to one another, and he's winding up to say something else when suddenly this magical force just goes, and his mouth just goes.
And this is when Lumi stands up on her chair to be like close to like eye level height, and she's inspired by the very strong wine that she's drinking, inspired by boldness and bravado from the company that she's keeping right now, and also the circumstances that befell her earlier. And she points right at this Karn Skarnet. Oh, screw you, and may the hellstorm flume burn your small hairs right off.
Interesting.
Velynia is looking open-mouthed at you right now.
Oh my! Karn, are you quite all right?
And
I kind of stand
Are
up,
you going to be ill?
maintaining the grip I have on his mug, and I'm just kind of like holding it between us, and I put my hand on his chest. I'm like, Con, I think you should go home before anything else should befall you. And I look over my shoulder at Lumi, kind of impressed.
You probably catch her like looking down at you for just like seeing if you approve or not. Just like, oh.
Oh yeah, I definitely do.
Karn
Badass.
is going to look around at all of you, and as he looks at you, Velynia, he looks past you at Moa, and he's just cutting daggers into you with his eyes. And he just slams his mug down on the table, turns on his heel, and he just storms out the door. And as soon as he heads out the door, it's not loud, but there's a smattering of applause in the tavern.
Awesome.
And you
That
see a
is
few
awesome.
people raising their glasses over in your all's direction. Beth Anna comes by to clean up the sloshed ale and grab his mug, and she just looks kind of apologetically at your group as she looks at the door that Scarnetti went out through, and you just hear her muttering something about pompous ass and blowhard as she
That's amazing.
heads back to the bar.
That's amazing. Oh. Talk about an exclamation point to end the evening. I will still be heading out now, but that will give me something to dream about. That
Lumi
was
turns
really...
to you, and as she turns to you, the stool that she's standing on kind of like wobbles a bit, and in her drunkenness, she like loses her balance a little bit and falls into you as she's saying, "No, you don't have to go."
I
And
would catch you to keep you from hitting your fucking head. Reflex save, I assume, Jacob? I mean, she is just a tiny creature. You could just say it's automatic.
Yeah, you don't have to roll for that.
Sick! I catch Lumi.
And
Like,
as you
maybe
catch
you
her,
should take your
she
leave.
looks up at you and says, "You don't have to go." And she's like, her face is like pressed into your chest, looking. She's
Oh,
looking
yeah.
right up at you.
I am leaving. And I think you should probably be not too far behind me, dear. And I kind of just like set you back up so you're standing on the chair.
Oh, where
Go
are we
home.
going? Oh,
We
oh,
aren't going
oh.
anywhere.
Well,
I'm
you
going
said-
to my
you-
home.
You said to be not too far behind you.
I meant leaving, Lumi. And
I
on
understand.
that note, I am. And I would look over at Millie and I would tap on the little pile of gold and I would just say, "Don't let things get too out of hand now." And I trust Millie implicitly to keep these hooligans in check. And I would, Velynia would start to head back to Mavashi's place.
I think Natalin as Velynia is walking away and leaving, Natalin kind of looks to Lumi and just kind of like raises her eyebrow and kind of gives that little like, head movement. Like, go.
Lumi's a little bit not ambivalent, ignorant, as she's like kind of like sitting back at the table and like
What are you doing?
she like sits back at the table and looks at you, Millie, and she says, "She smells so good." In her, and then
Nice,
then
dear.
and then Natalin, you're like, "What are you doing? Go on." I'm like, and then Lumi's like, kind of confused by this, as she like was gonna go reach for another like little popper bit thingy to snack on. Oh wait, me, Andre? No, I'm good, thank you.
Incredible.
Natalin won't press
What
you
is-
on that. So
What is going on with you two?
I don't know.
the silence is like, again, off-putting because this is like the two, very, very seasoned liars are trying very hard to not say anything.
Everything's fine.
How's that go? Ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I just think that Velynia maybe needs some space or something, she says, not very confident in her answer.
You'll have to tell her at some point.
Maybe later.
Moa'Kee, I'm sorry. I must apologize. I missed our sparring match this morning. And I am...
You mean yesterday?
That would be
Yes.
this morning.
That's this morning.
Well,
It
is it?
It's
Is this morning? Okay.
Yeah, it's only been one day.
But so much has happened.
I know. Okay.
And,
Very
Okay.
eventful day.
and I'm...
Yep. Yeah. Well,
And I find myself too terribly exhausted to do that now.
no, don't. You're fine. We're good. You seem to be back in spirits, so whatever happened to fix that, sparring match was not necessary anymore.
And I don't know how she takes that. Like, she's just kind of, she accepts it on face value. She just kind of nods to you, but also inside, like, there's a little bit of a confusion there that you might see in her eyes. Like, this is not the Moa'Kee that I know, because you would have pressed me and pressed me and pressed me to have the sparring match. And now you're just like nonchalantly, just whatever. It's okay.
It's
And so Natalin won't say anything, but she can see, like, she's like, something is up here.
and there's two things. One, you do see a little bit of difference in Moa'Kee. Like Moa'Kee's a little bit more reserved than normal. It's definitely injured, and there's something that potentially happened in the painting that is still kind of remedying, and he's drinking quite a bit, so he's definitely going on a bender right now.
I think
But-
maybe she notices your wounds at one point, and so
Yeah.
she's just like, if you don't mind, and she goes to, like, looks like she wants to touch you.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm anytime, and wound wise, please, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so she would kind of in that conversation, she would give you kind of a pat on your forearm or whatever,
Mhm.
and you start to feel that little warmth. You get 9 hit points back.
Ooh, that
Hey.
helps.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
While they're talking and doing that, Millie leans over to Lumi and says, "Well, dear, I'm happy you made a friend, even though I'm not necessarily sure that's the type of person we want you hanging out with."
She was so tall, and her arms are bigger than I was.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, given what I know about you so far. So what of the others? Can you tell me anything else about the other bandits, and so we can keep an eye out in case they come by?
There was a bit of a silvered man. His name was Bardi, and he sang a lot of songs that I didn't know about because I'm not as weathered as all of you are.
I'm sorry,
and then
what was his name, dear?
Bardi.
And he sang
Did you know him?
songs?
Yeah, he had a pretty good,
Well-
song to his voice. To
There
him.
was a relatively famous bard back in the day. He played in Magnamar quite a bit. His name was Bardi Manilow?
That's him.
Stop it. Really?
Yeah, really.
You met
I
Bardi
wouldn't
Manilow?
I wouldn't lie to you.
Oh, my heavens. I went and saw him one time when he performed back in Magnamar. Just between you, me, and our ale cups, I threw my knickers on the stage.
Well, I can't say that I saw in him what you did. I think perhaps because he's a different gender of character than
Oh,
the
he
ones that I
must be
appreciate.
quite old now, dear. Quite old.
Well, I don't think his age is the problem.
Ask him about freaking backwards Igor, dude.
And then there was also
Ask about-
this eccentric fellow who asked a lot of really strange questions. His name was Roji, and then there was the woman that could talk to animals. Her name was Lala. It turns out they were heading towards the, I don't want to say sanitarium, what was the place called?
Asylum.
The asylum.
Was it an asylum?
Sabi's, yeah.
Oh,
It was a
Sab's the
sanitarium.
asylum.
apparently they were headed down to the asylum. That's,
it was Hobby's Sanatorium.
it was a
And
sanatorium.
she-
Okay, yeah. It was a
She
sanatorium.
spoke with animals, dear? Like
Well,
some kind of
I-
druid?
That's what I thought was happening.
Oh,
Pickles took quite a liking to her.
oh.
And then there was Izzy, of course. I've spoken at length about her. I can always talk more about her if you want, but you said that you want to know about the others, so I will. And then there was, his name was Crispin. He wasn't very nice at all. He was the one that got his, he was the one that got clobbered by the aforementioned oak tree. And then there was, I really didn't see her much, this very quiet woman named Misty Steps. I think it's a reference to something, but I'm way too young to get it. And then lastly, I think, was there one more? I'm racking my brain. I just can't remember if there's another or not.
I think that was everybody.
I think that was everybody.
That's
Oh, and of
such a big
course there was
crew.
Adrani as the hostage in the back. That's who.
That's such a big crew. It's so fortunate that you're all safe.
Well, I didn't really feel like I was in much danger until Adrani, she cast a spell to message me saying that she was tucked away in the back of one of these wagons. And, well, my whole spirit fell and my mood sunk and I was so scared. And I was trying to figure out a way to tell Natalin about what's happening without giving away the ruse. But it turns out I didn't need to because Adrani made her own escape because, well, sounds like she's pretty confident on her own, and I wasn't really needed that well. But then I was really wondering about why would someone as cool and stalwart as Gothy would be in a group like this. But then I wonder, maybe she was asking me if I had borrowed the donkey, if I had stolen it, and she seemed to like the fact that I stole the donkey. So maybe she does have a bit of a criminal inclination. But I don't know. It's really hard to read people sometimes. But anyway, she seems to take a liking to me. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, or maybe behind myself. What was I talking about again?
Oh, Lumi, my dove. Maybe don't tell your father about Izzy?
I think for the sake of building habits, we should call her Izgothi. So we don't get the name Izzy stuck in muscle memory. Because I know that she doesn't like that name. But she said that she would beat up anyone who uses that name, and, well, I kind of like that notion. She says drunkenly.
Maybe don't tell your dad about Izgothi. That's
what?
Millie's tip for you.
Millie's tip of the day.
I mean, no, my father, I usually don't talk to father about people that I've taken an inkling to. Wherever I go out and about. And I mean, you remember the week-long tryst I had back in Magnamar that one time.
Oh, they were nothing but trouble for you. I remember after all of that, you locking yourself in your room and writing in your journal nonstop for 2 days.
How was I supposed to know that she was only going to be in town for a short while and had other adventures to go off to? She was setting sail across the inner sea, and she didn't say anything afterwards? She was like, oh, well, bye, Lumi, it was nice knowing you. What kind of departure is that? She gave me her chakram and that's it? That's all I have to remember her by? And she goes to reach for it and she realizes it's gone.
Oh. Oh no.
Where's your thing, dear?
Where's your death frisbee?
Where's my death frisbee? And she blusters about, tries to find where it could be. I must have lost it on the road.
That
Well,
sucks.
can't you just call it back to you with your fancy thing you wear?
I don't think so. I'd have to look at the instruction manual for my thrower's bandolier. It says that it can only, she flips through a little book,
You
Oh,
keep
well,
the
it says
instruction
all
manual on,
weapons
you
that are
nerd.
attuned to the bandolier,
Nerd.
not including any weapons I'm currently wearing, return to the bandolier. I wonder if there's any kind of distance.
Somewhere
She flips through.
somewhere fucking Rogie goes shit as his
Wait.
backpack gets ripped from the inside.
Okay, it has the envision tag. Do I have to see it? Is that what envision
That
means?
is incredible. That is incredible. Velynia is sitting on her bed right now, getting ready for sleep, and she's writing in her journal, and she just writes "is gothy?" and writes "bandit gang?" and then like underlines "is gothy." She's gonna look into this bitch. Got to keep an eye on Lumi here.
Envision actions. What is the envision tag?
Has to do with holy water.
Yeah, that's the envision actual thingy. Let's see.
That's incredible.
Envision and command activation are, you only need to imagine the item activating or command the item to act. So as she thumbs through the manual, she like keeps little notes of this thrower's bandolier because she bought it in a shop, and it came with all these like different like call words and like magic gestures to use to like activate it different ways. It says, well, if I just do this gesture, it should come back to me. It doesn't say it has a distance limit or anything, and so she'll do the gesture to recall the thrown weapon.
Oh my god.
You know that scene in The Fifth Element where Gary Oldman's character is making his escape thinking he's got the stones in the case, and he gets far away and he gets there and he opens up the case and he looks inside and immediately closes it, and then we just see him going, ah!
Yes.
Somewhere that's Rogie.
Yes.
Well, I guess it'll be coming any day now, wherever it happens to be. I hope no one's in the way.
Oh god. Oh god.
The camera flashes to this path of destruction.
The trains are all sliced.
There's flames for some reason. Like, there's a sheep with like
There's-
a reverse mohawk shaved
There's, like-
in its back.
There's a bunch of laundry on like a line, and it gets ripped right through.
It's like, I hope it'll be okay.
Then there's a
Zing, zing,
thud at the
zing.
door.
Brazil!
There's a big thud at the door as it just sticks in.
It's like a baker's like holding it, like, gosh, now where did I put my big bread cutting knife? You know, I could have put it somewhere.
Lo-
He's holding the loaf of bread up.
Lowers the
And then
loaf
he
of
thinks
bread
to
and it's all
himself,
neatly cut into slices.
Sliced bread.
You
could be a
guys
thing.
carrying the new window.
Oh shoot.
Oh my
Then t-
goodness.
the entire
again.
It's careening for some guy's head, and he just like, oh, look at that, my boot's untied. And he like bends down just in time for Liz
it's like
above his hat.
it's a whole sequence of the shot from returning.
Yes, this is adorable.
Its own adventure.
That's amazing. That is awesome. Dude, that is so great.
So
oh my god.
at some point, your conversation begins to wind down and you all head back to your respective homes. And eventually, you turn in for the night. And in the night,
Oh god. And you got that tone. You went down an octave. You had a long pause. If he says anybody's name, we're fucked.
in the night, as
Oh.
you all fall asleep, you all have the same dream. Darkness. The kind that comes just before the storm. Breath held. The world waiting to exhale. You stand in the middle of Sandpoint, but it's not now. The cobblestones are wet with old blood. Ash drifts through the air like snow. The wind howls down empty streets carrying a familiar name again and again. Nualia. You turn and see fire licking the eaves of the Sandpoint Cathedral. Not the rebuilt one. The old one. One that burned. The flames dance with unnatural grace, casting shadows that twist into faces you once knew. Some kind, some screaming, some long dead. You smell scorched flesh. You hear the bells toll, but no one is ringing them. A figure moves at the edge of the firelight, bare feet, white hair, cold eyes burning with rage and sorrow. You know her. Natalin. She stares at you, not with hate, but with curiosity. She lifts her hand and you feel it, not on your skin, but in your chest. A pulling, a calling. You blink, and you are inside the cathedral, whole and unburned. Quiet in the blue hush of morning. Father Xantus stands before the altar, candlelight flickering across his face. He is older, weary, but not alone. Audrani stands behind him, her voice echoing, not spoken, but threaded through the dream like a silver thread. The past does not sleep. It watches, and it remembers the flames. Come to the cathedral at dawn. Bring what truth you have. Leave behind what fear you carry. The next fire may not be kind. A bright column of flame suddenly explodes upward into the sky from outside the cathedral, the hellstorm flume. And you all, each in your respective homes, in your respective beds, wake suddenly. The dream message clear. You are to meet Audrani and Father Xantus at the cathedral as soon as possible. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Ooh, what is that in my lip? Is that a plot hook? Oh my god. How about that? Let's fucking go, dude. I feel like there's a doom incoming.
All right.
That was something else. That was a badass session, guys. Amazing.
I feel pretty confident that Moa may have made a new enemy.
This is awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know why. I've been playing with you guys long enough. I should know better. I'm like, yeah, he's just going to stumble in. He's going to say a couple things. And he's going to stumble off.
No,
and
bitch, he is not.
You guys are like, nope, we don't want to hear you.
Incorrect. Nope. Out. Mute.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Next week,
Awesome.
maybe we'll be back on the path of
At some point.
I do recall at the beginning of this session somebody asking me if we would be an Owlbear Rodeo.
Yes,
and,
I said that.
And I said yes.
Well, it's entirely up to you.
And then I said yes, it's entirely up to you. And you said no, we're not gonna go.
I think
in fact, you literally
And
went
then
to
I was like, I'll do my best to make sure we don't. Guess
you literally went to the threshold of Sandpoint Cathedral and all said, no, we're going to the bar.
You're going to the bar. I don't want to go in there. Well, because when you get to the door and you're like, are you sure you're ready for this quest? And then you select, I'm not ready yet. And you go to the bar.
Yeah,
You
I have
sell
other
off all
things.
your valuables.
You click on Father Xantus. Are you ready to begin? Or I have other things to do.
We
I like
couldn't
how
go
we- I
in.
like-
We couldn't go in without them because you must gather your party before venturing forth.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Are
I like-
you
we've
sure
been
you want
hired-
to?
We've been hired to do this, and we spent like the last week in game not doing it.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't hired to do this. We did the part we were hired to do.
We've done a lot of shit we've been
Oh,
hired to do.
true.
We were
And
hired.
We finished the
specifically to
job.
get the
Well-
bones.
I mean,
We've done
Father
that.
That's
Xantus
true. That's
himself
true.
sent me off.
That's true.
So
And you were, though, asked by Father Xantus to continue exploring beneath the temple or the cathedral, which you
And we
have not
did.
done.
We did just yesterday, man.
No, you didn't.
Yes.
You did.
No, you didn't. You went down and you dealt with the other ghouls. You never
That
actually
was,
explored.
That was underneath. That was in the undead hole. We were exploring.
No, he
And to be
he
fair,
specifically
he never
said
sent us-
the new tunnels that you heard about.
He
Which
said if
Yes,
you
but
happen
he's-
to be down there and find anything, I would be glad to have it, is what he said. That strikes me as an extra credit kind of mission.
Yeah,
An ambient quest.
What is it? We're not on his payroll right now either.
We're freelance.
We're just
Does that mean that
helping
Lumi-
as we can.
Lumi's benefiting from nepotism here. Is she a nepo baby? Is that what's going on?
1,000%.
could be.
Nepo baby adventurer.
Plus,
Mhm.
to be fair, I recall we were waiting for this friend of Zaddy's to show up to move to the next phase, and
I mean,
she just got here.
She's here.
Check the notes,
here.
but I feel like he said it's going to be a little while before she gets here. In the meantime, it would be great
Is this
if
the
you
friend?
explored the rest of the.
Wow, he's demanding. I mean, we did clear out all the ghouls.
Yeah, he. What is it?
Okay,
He did say
to be fair, Lumi had a
Moa'Kee
bit of
point
emotional
blank asked
crisis.
him, "Are you hiring us to do this?" And he said, "No."
He just
So
doesn't
we're
want to
just-
fill out a fucking W-4. That lazy guy.
We're just doing it because we're cool with Lumi, right? Like it's your dad.
I thought it was bad having one Gary avoiding plot hooks.
Listen here, we're not doing it to avoid them. We're doing it because there's other more interesting shit like inter-party conflict and inter-party romance and inter-party everything else.
All right, let's see.
Gary does it just out of spite.
Kidnapped by ghouls.
You could even say that
Dragged
we're
into the
vamping the
Warrens.
adventure module.
Yes, we are. I feel like we're really, really squeezing this orange for all of its juice.
Do you want 30 sessions of play from this book that you bought, or do you want 300 sessions of play from the book
That's
you
a
bought? You
great
know, like
question.
I mean, I was already expecting like 150 sessions. I think we're moving up towards 1,500 sessions. This is the longest running campaign. 7 dooms for Sandpoint 3 years later. The first doom has been revealed.
Oh my god!
You
All
know
right.
what you signed up for.
I can't
It's
believe
one
we've
doom
been
per
level
year.
4 for 2.5 years.
1 doom per year. All right.
Dude, I love it.
No, I love it. You
This
guys
has been
are
a goddamn delight.
you guys are doing you're doing the Lord's work as far as character development and stuff ahead of time. You guys are basically like leveling up your inter-party diplomacy and all of that stuff before you go do the main quest.
Yeah.
I think that's called an exploit.
Yes.
So
For sure.
It's called
with
grinding.
We're grinding.
with that, thank you to those who supported with subs, gift sub from Tamiko to Trob 19 T-Rob, and of course the 500-bit cheer from Cari there, which of course
3
resupplied your domain dice, which I'm the only one that burned domain dice tonight.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, I love seeing all the activity in the chat. Tune in tomorrow night for the likely return of Sky Metal, but with the caveat that we may not play if we're not quite ready. But we'll see.
That said, I'm so fucking excited for the return of Sky Metal. Whenever it happens, I will be there.
I'm ready for. Nope, there it is.
Aha!
I said 2 words and I immediately went into the wrong accent for Yosemigor.
Ready.
He's not Russian. He's never been Russian except when I accidentally give him a Russian accent.
I am Skimgrov.
You have 24 hours.
Brother.
Anyway, and we hope to see you on Thursday for Welcome to Paradise, Michigan, the Kids on Bikes RPG. Thank you, as always, to all of these wonderful, amazing players. I love getting to play this game with you, whether we're doing side quests or the main story or whatever this ends up being. It's already nowhere near where I thought it was going to go, and I mean that in a good way. So thank you as always, to Vi, Kaeryn, Tamiko, Cari, and Jay, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to end the stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want. MTD.